Hi, I'm Pia-Maria Thorén and I'm the founder of Agile People. Welcome to this course called Agile People Development, which is a part of IC Agile's Agility in Leadership track. In this session, we will get to know each other as well as understand the structure of the course material, and what the foundation is for Agile People. So let's start by describing what Agile People is. Agile People is a community with people who believe in a better way when it comes to how we run organizations in a complex world. We are all passionate about combining Agile and people to create conditions for a workplace where people feel happy and have what they need to perform in an optimal manner. We have taken the values and principles from the Agile Manifesto, mixed with the modern Agile framework, spiced it up with our own Agile People Manifesto, and from there created 35 principles that we believe that all organizations, regardless of size and industry, need to increase. This is the full list of the Agile People principles that are included in the book and that we are all the time trying to increase by using different tools, models, methods, and frameworks. The ultimate goal is to create an Agile culture that help any organization to adapt and be resilient in times of massive change. Except for the principles, we also work with many tools and frameworks in Agile People. But the purpose of all of them is in the end to increase the principles and the values. It may be that you work with a lot of these tools and still may not consider yourself being a particularly agile organization. Then the problem is that the principles cannot grow if the platform, the soil, the culture is too far away from the principles. We in Agile People put together a manifesto to support you to understand how the move to a more agile culture looks like. We came together in 2019 during 4 intensive days in my summer house on the west coast of Sweden. And this is the result, and this is our gift to you. Start today, follow the principles, and start your personal and organizational learning journey towards greater people and business agility. The sooner you start, the sooner you will reap the benefits from happy performing employees working together towards a common vision. Let's start your own journey right now. I am the founder of Agile People, which is this global community. Really, our vision is to turn workplaces into life places with happy, productive, performing people. And I have a very mixed background. I used to work with talent management system implementations in the past, standardizing processes and systems, rolling out all over the world for large Swedish organizations. But I realized that there is a better way. I became an Agile master in 2009, and since then, almost everything I've been doing has been spiced with an Agile mindset. And I've been using the tools and values in numerous different assignments in different kinds of organizations, different industries, different shapes, and different sizes. So my title in Agile People is Inspiration Director or Agile People Coach, depending on what role I take. I'm passionate about combining people and Agile to create engaged and motivated employees. I'm really from Gothenburg, Sweden, but I consider myself a citizen of the world. My proverb is that nothing is impossible until you stop trying. But, I'm really unimportant here because in this training, we are instead going to use your competence in many different areas, since you will see that the collective intelligence in this training that you just embarked upon is so much greater than mine or anybody else's alone. And the biggest learning happens when we share what we know with other people. I will be your facilitator in this learning journey that we now are embarking on together. So Kanban is a very common tool in Agile. And our agenda for this class, if we are doing a classroom training, is in the form of a Kanban board on the wall. Usually, we use mural canvases when we do the online training. So there we have a different kind of agenda, but you will see that when we get into the session together. Kan means visible and ban means card in Japanese. So in plain Japanese, kanban would mean billboard or sign. We love to use Kanban boards in Agile since we work to increase many of the Agile people principles when we do that. For example, visualization, transparency, and increasing collective intelligence. Also, focus is increased and psychological safety. And maybe you can think of any other principles that could increase from this way of working. We are going to take a look at the world around us now. And there are many big trends that are impacting us, except for the coronavirus in the last year. Digitalization, there are major shifts in industries, from large industry disruptors such as Amazon and Uber to very simple things like collaborating in teams on a distance, Trello boards, for example, to communicating, performing meetings, interviews, using Zoom, Skype, Slack. And we also do our banking and ordering via a variety of services via mobiles and laptops. The second big trend is globalization. We are working, traveling, and doing business across borders, and it's becoming easier, except for, of course, the last year. But from being a citizen of a country or a town, we're primarily becoming citizens of the world. And then we have the shift to knowledge work, from working with our hands, with our brains more or less switched off, to producing products and solutions via creativity and innovation that aren't physical at all. Climate change. We are living in an environment that is changing at a faster rate and will need all our ingenuity and innovative capacity for our planet to remain viable for humans. And last, the sharing economy. Companies like Airbnb and Uber have appeared as a reaction on the waste and materialism that characterized the latter part of the industrial era. This is a counter reaction on a lifestyle not viable for the planet, and it continues to grow. Not everybody have to own everything. People are sharing all sorts of things like houses, cars, tools, and other stuff. We say that we live in a VUCA world. And what does that mean, really? Well, it comes from the American military from the beginning. And VUCA, the V here means volatility, and that is the nature and dynamics of change, the speed of change forces and change catalysts. Everything is changing all the time, and volatility describes how that happens. U stands for uncertainty, which is the lack of predictability, the prospects for surprise, and the sense of awareness and understanding of issues and events. How aware are we of unpredictable stuff? C stands for complexity, the multiplex of forces, the confounding of issues, no cause and effect chains anymore, and confusion. And it all surrounds the organization. Everything affects everything else all the time. And it's not simple anymore. It's not like we can say today, if we do this, it leads to that. No, it doesn't work anymore that way. A, lastly, stands for ambiguity, the haziness of reality, the potential for misreads, and the mixed meanings of conditions. Cause and effect confusion. The same thing can have different meanings. If we go back to the history and have a look at the workplace from 80 years ago, this is pretty much what it could look like. And this is the ironing department. And today these women have been replaced by robots. For them, it was about doing the same thing over and over again. And the challenge was to make the flows as effective as possible and to standardize processes. The women on this picture had no say in how things should be done. It was all carefully thought out by a few in the top. And the women were just doing what they were told. So this was a time when hierarchies ruled and formal power was a sign of success, and tasks were assigned to employees. If we instead gaze towards the future, we see some other amazing thing in workplaces happening. Artificial intelligence and robotics will create more work, ultimately, not less. And there won't actually be a shortage of jobs that some people may be afraid of today. But there may also be a shortage of skilled talent to fill the jobs that there are. And the majority of the workforce will freelance. So this employee form that we are working with today will be less and less common. Remote works has already, we could say, become the norm, and people will have now a new geographic freedom to live anywhere they want and still work via laptops and mobile phones and other tools, digital tools. Besides technological change that will keep increasing, we need also to learn new skills in other areas, obviously. And that will be an ongoing necessity throughout life to continuously learn and continuously develop in different areas. In this complex reality, we have to move from viewing the organization as a machine that can be controlled and managed to viewing it as a social system. People are not cogs in a machinery. They have feelings, dreams, challenges, and thoughts and cannot be controlled. People are not robots. They are complex adaptive systems that work from intrinsic motivation. And that means that we need to stop to see people as resources and view them as the living organisms that they are, who we need to treat differently to work optimally, because everybody's different. No standardization or boxing people with labels or grades anymore, just skills to understand better what makes each person tick. To create a well-functioning social system is a very complex task, and we need to use a lot more experimentation and trial and error for it to work. There are no recipes for success here, and Agile is definitely not the silver bullet. So what do you need to do to make a person function optimally? You need to care about the basic psychological needs, and they are different for everybody. This is a picture from a Ford factory. People were indeed a part of a machinery on this time. So scientific management, also called Taylorism, was a theory of management that analyzed workflows. And its main objective was to improve economic efficiency, especially labor productivity. And it was one of the earliest attempts to apply science to the engineering of processes and to management. Taylorism was highly effective for meeting challenges of that time, which was mainly about industrial manufacturing and logistics. So they built management systems of standardization to create efficiency at the production line. This is what Henry Ford said: "Thinking is the hardest work there is," which is probably the reason why so few engage in it. And it says something about the way he viewed people. A few people at the top created structures of micromanagement that flowed top down in his Ford factories. We will come back to this statement later in this course and understand why this is something that we need to change, the way that we view people. Somebody who really went into this is also Douglas MacGregor, who wrote a book in the end of the 1950s called The Human Side of Enterprise. And in that book, he writes about theory X and theory Y, which is about how the human mind works. If you believe in X, you believe that people dislike to work. They probably find it boring. They will avoid it. Whereas if you believe in Y, you think that people need to work. They take an interest in it. And if they get the right conditions, they rather enjoy it. If you believe in X, people must be forced or bribed to make the right effort. Whereas if you believe in Y, You think that people will, by themselves, direct themselves towards goals that they have been there to set themselves. When it comes to direction, with the X view, you believe that people would rather be directed and controlled than accept responsibility for themselves. And with the Y view, you think that people will seek responsibility if they get the right conditions to take responsibility. When it comes to motivation, with the X view, you believe that people are motivated mainly by money and fear about their job security. Whereas with the Y view, you think that people are motivated by the desire to be the best they can be in their lives and to realize their biggest potential. With the X view, you believe that most people have very little creativity, except when it comes to gaming the system or getting around rules. But with the Y view, you know that everybody is extremely creative, but we don't use too much of that creativity. The takeaway from this is that most people see themselves as Y people. It's only other people who are X people. So then you can actually ask yourself if this is just a prejudice that we have about other people. And if they get the right prerequisites, they would also be Y person. It's really about the system of work that we are providing to our employees. Do we believe in them and do we set them up for success by providing a system where they can release their full human potential? Or do we set them up to fail by not giving them the opportunity to do what they do best every day? Not removing impediments for performing and not giving them the resources they need to succeed. If we make sure that every person can show up every day and be their best selves, do we then believe that they will perform better and be happier at work? Why is this important? Because how we view people affects how we structure our management processes. So if you believe that people are lazy and don't want to take responsibility, you will create a lot of policies and rules, processes and systems that will keep people doing what you want them to do. If you, on the other hand, trust people and you believe that people want to contribute to create value for some customer group and that they want to take ownership for what they do, you don't need so many policies and rules. Essentially, in traditional organizations with an X view of people, we optimize for the worst possible employee. We put everybody in jail since a very few would break the rules. Instead, we need to take these cases, special cases, and talk to them separately. Violating trust should have consequences, but not for everybody. This is the course literature for the People Development course. It came out in September 2020 and is a co-creation project between myself and 35 Agile people from around the world, who have each written one chapter about one of the Agile people principles. So you will read chapters from this book before every session. This is also another book that you will get when you attend this course. It's the Agile People Picture Book, and it has 220 pictures that would make the messages from the other book come alive. These are the questions for your certification assignment, and you need to send a short answer to your facilitator after the last session of the course with some replies or some thoughts around each of the questions. You can do this in any format. It could be a visual of some kind, picture image, PowerPoint presentation, a Word document, maybe even a video or a role play. And you can also work in teams when you finalize your assignment. You can also use this company, Boomerang, and you see here what kind of company Boomerang is. It's a fashion company. So this is a Swedish fashion brand that had been in business for 40 years. And in January 2018, the CEO put their company into bankruptcy. And he was interviewed in one of the large Swedish papers, and this is what he said. We have run the business in a market that has changed at an ever-increasing pace. And unfortunately, we have not managed to adapt our structures and processes quickly enough to create long-term profitability. And therefore, we've been forced to apply for bankruptcy. So it's a very interesting case. And now we are pretending that the CEO is asking you for help to turn around the company's people processes, the structures, and the mindset to be able to see, save what's left and manage to start over again. So you are going to help them with their people development. We have some facts about this organization. The number of employees in the last 3 years has been 84 to 92. The turnover has declined since 2012, and the results have been negative since 2012. You will have the opportunity to work on this assignment during the training in your teams and discuss and collect input. And I actually recommend you to team up with some of the other training participants to do the assignment together. And then you report back to your facilitator in written format or image or word or visual 3 months from the last day of the training. I'm writing 1 month here because it's easier if you put some pressure on yourself, but really you have 3 months. Your report needs to contain the whole concept for how to think about people development in this small future boomerang business. Then you name the document according to the instructions on this slide. And if you're a group, you also put a group name in the name of the document and you send it to your facilitator. So write down the email address here to your facilitator. It's in your workbooks that you can print out and have with you at all times when you are attending the sessions of the training. IC Agile is our certification body, and Agile People is one of the member organizations that work together with IC Agile to develop learning objectives and courses in business agility. This course, IC Agile People Development, ICP PDV, is part of the Agility in Leadership track and focuses mainly on developing your ability to develop people and teams. You can read more about IC Agile on icagile.com, and you can look at different learning journeys and tracks that you can take part in to prepare yourself for an increasingly complex world. So here are the steps for your certification assignment. You find the template in your workbook. You apply the learnings to your own or a client organization or Boomerang. You link to the acceptance criteria for the course. You give some examples. They could be fictive or real. You summarize and visualize in text and pictures, and you send to your facilitator within 3 months from the course starts. And then you wait for your certificate to arrive. We always work with kudo walls in these trainings, and it's not different if it's a classroom training or an online training. We have a canvas with a kudo wall for the online training, and in every room that we give this training, a classroom-based training, we also have a kudo wall or a kudo door, a happiness door. We might also have. So how do you write kudos? Kudos is positive feedback. You start by writing the name of the person whom the card is for, or the group of people whom the card is for. And then you write your piece of positive feedback. It's only positive feedback on a kudo card, never constructive criticism or negative feedback. Only positive feedback. Could be anything. Could be that you like somebody's hair or glasses or sweater, or the way they came up with examples in the training, or maybe they had a good comment, or maybe they told you about a case or anything. And then you sign with your own name at the bottom of the little post-it. If it's a canvas, you write small post-its on the Kudo wall. And if it's in a physical training, you write a small post-it and put on the wall. Or if the facilitator or trainer has Kudo cards, even better, then you can write the cards and put them with a piece of tape on the Kudo wall. We are focusing on the shareholder value when we should focus first on the customer value and employee satisfaction. And this is a problem. Happy employees serve customers, and happy customers will lay the foundation for a profitable organization that can deliver value to the shareholders. But that is a consequence of the value creation happening between employees and customers. One of the Agile people principles is customer value, which is a very central concept in Agile ways of working. More or less everything we do should contribute to create some value at the customer in the end. And we all have customers, whether they are internal or external. HRs and leaders' customers are the employees. Evan Leborn from the Business Agility Institute always says that you are not in business to make money. You are in business to create value for a customer. And I really like that quote. So I'm happy to quote Evan on that. When you focus on the value creation, profit will be the consequence. So value comes first and profit follows. So what is value? This is a concept that we might need to define. Here is one definition that I like a lot. It goes like this: the degree to which folks' needs in aggregate are being or have been met. Simple, straightforward. This one by Bob Marshall, who calls himself an organizational psychotherapist. The next one is a definition of what a customer is. Someone could be either a person or a collection of people whose needs we are attending to. Also from Bob Marshall. So then you get customer and value defined, because these are concepts that have many different meanings. I was asked to write a quote for the marketing of this training, and this is what I came up with. I'm going to read it out loud and you can think about it. Encouraging the development and growth of people is similar to learning how to take care of a garden. It's only when we create the right conditions that people can grow, learn, and release their creativity to invent new products and services that our customers want and need. This ability to learn faster than other companies is the only remaining competitive advantage when everything else can be copied. So this is my contribution to the marketing of this training. And you can reflect and discuss if you think it makes sense. And what do I mean? After this training, we are offering you 3 months free subscription for our content, the campus, and all our offered meetups and webinars. Have a look at agilepeople.com for a complete schedule of activities. In your workbook, you can also find some templates for your own learning. One template is for user stories and one for your new tiny habits to keep moving you in the right direction. So your user stories will help you understand what it is you need to be able to reach a certain outcome. So this is something that we will go through and do regularly together. The tiny habits will help you to gradually, bit by bit, change your behaviors by taking small steps triggered by a certain situation or a certain action. Okay, I think that's it for today. Wish you a fantastic training, and you will hear more from me for the coming sessions. Have a good evening, or morning, or lunch, or whatever time it is with you.